Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another 4chan Stories video, and today we're going to be getting into some more 4chan stories, and you guys have been loving these 4chan stories, and I've been loving recording them, so I'm going to keep making them. As long as you guys keep watching them, please like and subscribe and comment so I can know to make more, and please subscribe because the channel's goal is 500,000 subscribers, and make sure to sit back, relax, and get ready to listen to some scary, unnerving, and unsettling stories. I love these stories, you're going to love them too, so make sure you stick around. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into some unnerving stories from 4chan. Something very odd and shocking happened to me. I don't get on this board a lot. I usually lurk on AN, K, Out, His, and R9K, but I can't post this on any of those. I was thinking of posting on AN or Out, but thought they would direct me here regardless. To summarize, I saw something spectacular that has terrified me and my pals since it happened. The memory has been carved into my brain for the most part, so everything should be accurate, though I might be paraphrasing our dialogue a little bit. Not enough to change any of what actually happened though. This occurred about a month ago, so I guess I'll just get right into it. Be me, 25-year-old Army vet living in the boonies of wooded South Central Kentucky. Enough forests and woods to spend a whole life walking through. Be turning 26 soon, so in a good mood. Decide to go on a camping trip with some friends on a spur-of-the-moment decision. Call my guys together, 3 other dudes, we'll call them Samuel, Dylan, and Cristo. We had a place that we always go camping to. Probably not after this. For reference, it's definitely in the Barron County jurisdiction. Get supplies ready, 4 coolers, 2 small tents, a lot of beer and snacks, and 3 blunts. Cristo gets in his truck, picks up the other guys, and comes to my place to pick me up in the supplies. Hell yeah. Put supplies in bag with Dylan and sit in the truck. In between Cristo making a joke or doing something stupid, we're always quite well focusing on something, so truck rides, setting up camp, or just working in general always has an awkward silence for us. We're some loud fuckers too. Drive out to the middle of nowhere and walk up the very long crude trail, and some other guys made way back while we were seniors in high school. Finally arrive at our spot after probably an hour of walking. After a while, our tents are up and everything else is ready. Cristo grabs the 4 coolers and we all sit on some logs around what will be our firewood when night comes. It's only 4:30 p.m. right now. Grab some beers and start cracking around. Just general fuckery. So, Anon, what are you going to do for your big 26, says Samuel. Before I get the chance to say anything, Cristo pops off. Ask Veronica, my girlfriend. She's the one who's deciding. Really funny, oh my sides. For some reason, my friends call me a pussy whipped, and it's a running joke with them. Cue my sarcastic laughing and the rest of them cracking up. Something you should know about Cristo. He's a Mexican, but a full-blown American loving Trump supporting rebel boy. He's a complete Chad, and though he's the biggest party animal you've ever seen, he's a very hard worker. He's 250 and well over 6 feet of pure muscle and jackassery. Cristo is almost never serious, but when he is, don't take it lightly. Back to it. Shut up and give me another beer. He obliges. Now hold on a minute. Samuel glows as he pulls out one of the big, beautiful blunts. Don't drink anymore. Why don't we spark up? I thought we were saving those for tonight, I reply. Hell, we'd still have 2 left, he says. I look to Cristo and Dylan, and they don't have an issue with it. All right, I guess. I put my beer down, and Samuel lights it up. Samuel is a little guy, no more than 5'4" and 130 pounds, but he's a hell of a heavyweight. Me and Cristo hardly ever smoke, and this would be Dylan's first time. Samuel lights it up and of course hits it first and second and third. After like 4 times, Cristo takes it from him and hands it to Dylan. Dylan's a bit hesitant. In between Samuel's laughing, he says, Come on, Dylan, don't be a pussy, hit it. Your first time's the best. Dylan, you don't have to hit it if you don't want to, Cristo says. Nah, I got this. Dylan hits it, then the fucker hits him. Dylan's an average guy, but around 300 pounds and very quiet in public. He's a complete jokester in private. Falls over from laughing so hard. Me and Cristo keck about it, Samuel's red face on the fucking ground. Dylan, the poor bastard, gets up and hits it again. Immediately on the floor again. Cristo's in tears now, and I'm clenching my sides. I think Samuel's are in orbit. Eventual hands it off to me. I hit it twice and cough a little. give it to Cristo, and he takes it better than I did. After passing around for a bit, it's just a roach, so Samuel supermanned it, and we sat around and chilled out. Checked my phone, and it's already 6. Told my friends, and they were as shocked as I was. It only felt like minutes since we had gotten everything set up at 4:30. Decide to rip into the other 2 blunts. Once we're done with them and get back to chilling out, Cristo says he has to piss and walks over to the trees. Guys? Cristo says with a wary voice. We look into his general direction. Guys? He exclaims. We rush over to him to see what's up. The bastard flings around with his dick out and pisses on us. The bastard pissed on us. As a joke, this B word literally pissed on us. We were pissed on and we were pissed. We tackled him to the ground and wrestled him. It was nothing malicious though. He was laughing the whole time and kept calling himself R. Kelly. We get back over to the campsite and light a fire as it's beginning to get dark. Me, Dylan, and Samuel take our piss-covered shirts off and throw them at Cristo. He, being the Einstein that he is, throws them in the fire. Dylan annoyingly states, Cristo, you fucking idiot, now the whole place is gonna smell like piss. Here, Cristo says as he takes off his shirt and throws it into the fire. We all laugh at how dumb Cristo was. After fucking around a bit more, once we sober up, and we get tired. It was definitely after 11 p.m. once we decided to go to the tents to sleep. Samuel and Cristo call one tent, so I'm stuck in the other with Dylan. Surprisingly enough, it gets hot in a small tent with a fat guy like Dylan. Decided to take my sleeping bag and lay beside one of the logs around our campfire. I remember before dozing off to sleep hearing Cristo and Samuel tell some shitty jokes but laughing to them nonetheless. This is when the worst, most terrifying event in my life happened. Of the years I spent in Afghanistan dodging Muslim bullets and watching my friends die by my side, nothing I have ever experienced or Lord willing will experience have or will ever compare to what happened next. I'm literally shaking typing this because of how terrifying redawning upon this awful memory is. I wake up with my head horizontal, sideways, so all I can see is the log beside me. Check my phone, and I watch the time switch over from 2:31 to 2:32 a.m. Look up and move my torso upwards with my elbows so my head is facing just above the log. To my surprise, I see a Cristo with his mouth gaped open looking up and over at something. Also see Samuel sitting on a log with his mouth open too, looking in the same direction. What's going on? I say, rubbing my eyes. My question was replied to with a cold silence. I annoyingly get up to look in the direction they were looking at. This was what I can only describe as an evil confusion. I felt absolutely shocked whenever I saw what this fucking thing was. The top of this organism was a crude sphere, which I am guessing was its head, though it could have been its torso. Its head was just below the canopy of the forest. On what I'm saying is its head, I couldn't see an orifice. Directly below what I'm loosely calling its head was its legs. Yes, if the top of this creature was its head, then its head was attached to its legs. It had 3 legs, 2 in the front, 1 trailing behind. As it walked, this monster's legs stayed notably and oddly straight, but did bend like a knee would. Its skin is the hardest part to explain. What I can best offer is that its skin was gray and tarp-like, like plastic, but not like plastic. It's so hard to explain. It was similar to what you would see on an elephant or a seal, I guess. It looked like if you had scratched it, it would have made a noise like a fucking knife to a blackboard. This abomination was walking not necessarily at us, but to our 8 o'clock position. Cue a very deep and loud, what I'm gonna call humming. It was fucking loud and deep. It made the ground vibrate. I knew it was coming from this creature, but it was so loud, it was almost as if it was coming from the sky. After what I'm liberally calling 2 steps to our 8 o'clock position, I hear a zipper as Dylan opens the tent he was in and steps out. He walks to directly beside me and a still sitting Samuel. His mouth is wide open as hell. Given our location and how big this fucking monster was, we've come to call it the Kentucky Colossus. The Colossus was now probably 35 to 40 feet away from us. I still can't tell how much land this thing was clearing with each step. 4 full-grown, well over 20-year-old men just stand/sit in shock and watch as this monster inches or yards towards us. We could tell that if it didn't change its walking trajectory, it wouldn't touch us or our camping tents or fire. It walks as close as it ever was to us, about 10 feet away from Cristo, who it absolutely dwarfed. I can't tell if it noticed us or not. The fucker just walked. For its size, the Colossus's footsteps were a lot quieter than would be expected, especially compared to the humming noise it made. As it takes another step forward, Cristo kept staring at it. It was almost as if we couldn't look away from it. Not that I was making an effort to look away from it. Me and the boys were dead set on looking at this thing. After more steps away from our direction, Cristo turns and looks at us. He starts crying. I started crying. I don't know if it was confusion or anxiety or what, but soon Samuel started crying too. Somehow, Dylan kept his cool and did as much as he could to console us. Of course, he was as petrified as we were, but he didn't cry at all. I remember in between the crying asking, What the hell was that thing? I obviously didn't hear a coherable response. We sat there, huddled around, and hugged each other. None of us went back to sleep. After we had settled down, I decided to ask Cristo and Samuel, "Did you two not sleep at all last night?" "Huh? Why?" Samuel responds. I go on. "When I had woken up, I saw you two awake when you were Oh," Cristo let out. "No, I had woken up and wanted to smoke, so I grabbed a pack of cigarettes out of Samuel's pants and it woke him up." "Oh, okay. But when did you two see it?" I respond. Cristo continues. "That's what I was getting to. Since I got caught, I asked Samuel if I could smoke and if he wanted to join me. He said yes to both. He lit his and I handed me one. I told him I was going to check on you. I unzipped the tent flag and went out. I was fidgeting with the cigarette and the lighter, and once I got it lit, I hit it and looked up." He froze up. That's when I saw it. He was beginning to get a bit choked up. I went to yell out Samuel's name, but it came out as a whisper. Regardless, he heard me and asked, "What?" He looks over at Samuel. Samuel says, "I asked what about 2 more times before I went out of the tent to see Cristo standing still, looking off into the distance. I looked up at him and started walking forward. I had my eyes focused on his head and asked what he wanted. By the time I was beside him, I looked away in the direction that his head was. Far off in the distance, I saw it." "How far?" asked Dylan. "Probably several 100 feet," Samuel replied. I collapsed and hit my ass on the log. He paused for a moment. "I went to get you, but I couldn't. It was the most petrifying thing I had ever felt. It wasn't like I was paralyzed. I was just choosing not to move. It was weird." Cristo put his hand on Samuel's shoulder and continues for him. He woke up eventually, and then once that humming started, Dylan woke up. We mostly sat around huddled in silence, constantly looking over our shoulder. We hadn't really spoke too much about it itself while we were huddled with each other by the camp. It was mainly just pep talk like, "We gotta fucking make it through the night," or something like, "If it comes back, we're not freezing up. We're gonna grab a flashlight and run down the trail." At around late 4, early 5, the sun began to rise. It was the most beautiful thing we had ever seen. We unassembled the 2 small tents and grabbed the coolers and set off down the trail. A little bit of chit-chat down the trail, but mostly silent. For some reason, while we were walking down the trail, we were afraid once we reached the beginning, Cristo's truck wouldn't be there. Eventually we get there, and lo and behold, Cristo's truck is there. We throw everything into the truck bed, including Dylan, and set off down the road. But in the truck, I think all of us were waiting for someone to bring it up. Finally, after about 15 minutes into the ride, Dylan poked his head in through the rear window and said, "So we all definitely saw the same thing, right?" We were silent for a second, but Cristo said, "Y'all saw a giant gray, 3-legged creature?" Samuel and I said yes. "We all heard that loud, deep humming noise it made?" I asked. The other 3 said yes. I began to ask, "Should we tell anyone?" "No," Cristo said in a very matter-of-fact manner. "That'd be a good way to get us all locked up in a nut house." Dylan agreed with him, and Samuel remained silent. After more silence, Cristo continued, "We don't tell anyone. No other friends, no family, No girls or hookups. This stays between us. Cristo looked at us. We have to be clear on this, okay, guys? We agreed. For the car ride and a bit after, Cristo acted really odd. When we got to the gas station, Cristo went in to fill up his truck. When he got back out, another Mexican walked up to him and complained about the Confederate flag he had on his truck bed. I didn't know we had a white supremacist. You know they hate people like you and me, so why are you waving their flag? Usually Cristo would have clown on him or pushed him and tell him to fuck off. Cristo just dead stared at the guy and said, "Go." It was really creepy. He got back in his truck and drove us all to my house. All of us stayed at my place over the weekend and played vidya or just fucked around. It got brought up a few more times, but the whole time we were at my house, there was a really awkward vibe. Every time I think of the Colossus, it gives me cold chills. I wanted to ask around to friends and coworkers, but I'm going to stay loyal to the oath we took. From what I know, none of the other guys have brought it up to anyone else, so I'm taking it here. Have any of you here ever seen or heard anything of what I'm talking about? I look up all the details, but I get nothing. Any local folklore or just stories that sounds anything like what I witnessed, or if you've seen anything what I'm talking about, please tell me your experience or even a friend's experience. Any other forums or places you all could report me to? I'll answer any questions. We just need to find this shit out. I made an appointment with a psychiatrist tomorrow because I honestly think I've lost it. This is my story. It's quite long, so bear with me. Just recently became 20 years old. Wanted to do something fun for birthday. Invite 3 friends to go to Herb X and haunt hunting with me in the Czech Republic. 2 destinations are abandoned underground facilities from the Second World War. One destination is a supposedly haunted hill. Another destination is a long tunnel just beneath the ground which supposedly abruptly ends. Still don't know where that one's supposed to be. You're catching my drift, I think. We had a lot planned. Group consists of me, a hipster, a comic, nerd, and a rich guy. B yesterday evening. Hang out in the house of rich guy. Check. Smoke some weed and watch Ace Ventura. Decide to take a look at the local forest while stoned. Meet some random guy in front of the forest. His English is pretty decent. I'd say even better than mine. He's pretty young. Says he's there quite often. Says he used to do videos there. We don't really know him, but he seems like an alright person. Plus, we might need someone who knows the area, so we asked him to chill with us in the forest. He takes a long look into the forest. Listen, I'm not letting you enter the forest. We're confused, asking him whether he's the forest keeper or something. He completely avoids eye contact with us, staring into the forest. Nerd starts grinning and shouts, "Creepypasta time," with a melodic voice. Some of us laugh. Forest dude is visibly annoyed. He mocks our laughter and tells us to fuck off. Rickonon is getting upset. Hipster ain't on too. Forest dude's eyes are trailing something in the forest in short bursts of movement. Without looking away from the forest, he says, "Creepypasta? Okay. So you are into creepy stuff, right?" I was too. He licks his lips and cowers a little, as if he was trying to look beneath something. Nerd Anon is now joking about me having planned all this. Forest bro is fucking pissed. His entire body language is saying, "I'm prepared to fight you." Fists clenched and feet wide apart, he finally turns towards us. 2 options. You leave, or I make you leave. We mock Forest Dude a little, but we turn around. Suddenly, Rich Anon turns towards the forest again and starts sprinting inside. Instinctively, we follow him because we're a bunch of R-words. We make bird noises while running past Forest Dude, who desperately tries to catch one of us. Forest Dude stops chasing right after the first tree. He's crying now, hysterical, begging us not to go inside. He's offering us money, his car, and some inaudible things. At this point, we really think he's just gone nuts. After about 20 minutes of walking, Hipster Anon sits down on a large rock. We sit around him, starting to roll new joints. talking about a restaurant where you can get an entire menu for like €8 and it's fucking delicious. Nerd Anon stares at his half-rolled joint. Dudes, I'm out. Not smoking anymore. Total paranoia. He passes his weed on, but we don't really bother asking him what's wrong since he was always kind of weird. We toke up and continue north. Sorry for breaking the story. I should have fucking listened to that forest dude. We find a half-rotten, half-gnawed boar carcass. Nerd Anon is freaking out, begging us to leave, claims he knows his shit, claims there is no animal in these forests able to kill a boar. Getting a bad feeling as well. Suggests we head back. Hipster Anon says we should look for mushrooms on the way out, the normal ones. We spread out a little and look for mushrooms. Surprisingly, there are none. I get a little bit distracted by a weird stump and get separated off of the group. As we get back together, it seems that Nerd Anon cheered up a bit. At least he's not frightened anymore. We make our way back. Rich guy laughs loudly as he sees that forest dude is still in front of the forest. Forest dude is anxiously walking up and down. No traces of him being angry at us, just frightened and worried or something. We decide to apologize to him and offer him a beer. As we walk out of the forest, he's relieved at first, until he sees Nerd Anon. His eyes widen and you could see how his breath stopped for a moment as he turned pale. He suddenly smiles and accepts our offer. On the way, we're talking about nothing in particular. Forest dude turns to Nerd Anon and asks him how long Rich Anon has lived up there, nodding towards Rich Anon's house. Nerd Anon says he doesn't know. We all remember the fucked up night we had as he had a goodbye Rich Anon party in his house, since he was leaving our country to live back in the Czech Republic. Think that Nerd Anon probably smoked too much, so he doesn't remember it. Forest dude cautiously looks at one of us, as if he's expecting some sort of reaction. Fast forward a few minutes. We're in a hospoda, a bar or restaurant now. Locals make comments about Forest dude, which I don't understand. He's annoyed by them. We start drinking beer and Medeksa, only Nerd Anon is drinking water. Forest dude suggests we play a round of darts. All but Nerd Anon agrees. He wants to read something, plus he's not feeling too well. We start playing darts. Forest dude sucks and talk feels extremely forced. He suddenly tells us that he's getting a new round of beer. After he's taking too long, I decide to just follow him. He's standing at the bar, occasionally peeping towards Nerd Anon. I confront him, but he just puts his arms around me and draws me in close, while raising his finger to his lips, signaling me to be quiet. I give him the benefit of the doubt. I will say what I have to say, please listen carefully. After that, do with me what you want. I gave your friend gold dust. My father is a goldsmith. Watch your friend. I try to inconspicuously peep over to Nerd Anon. The skin on his neck is bumpy, as if there was something beneath it. From the looks of it, wrinkled skin or maybe feathers. I look back at Forest dude and he just nods at me, as if he was trying to say, told you so. I'm fed up with all of this, so I ask the bartender for a pack of smokes and ask Forest dude if he wants to smoke one with me outside. Catch some fresh air. Forest dude understands this is a cover for me to talk to him alone and loudly accepts the offer. Outside, it's night already. Don't expect answers. I don't have any, starts Forest dude. Before I can say anything, he continues. I have no idea where it came from, but how many there are, or whether it is my fault or not. They are allergic to gold dust. That's all I can say for sure. I laugh a bit, dizzy from booze and weed, and ask whether he's trying to pull an X prank on me. He starts rambling about some rituals he did in the woods and that he started noticing weird things in his videos, and I don't really remember what else. He was confused and very upset. There's no commotion, he said. We should get inside, see what's going on. We walk in, but only Hipster Anon is sitting at the table. Nerd Anon and Rich Anon nowhere to be seen. We casually ask where they are. Hipster Anon says that Nerd Anon wasn't feeling well, so he went out in the back. We keep on drinking, and I'm really drunk at this point. Rich Anon and Nerd Anon walk in. Nerd Anon is exchanging mean looks with Forest dude. The rest of the evening is a foggy mess and not really noteworthy. Forest dude left us after a while, and we stumbled home. I wake up a little later than usual due to having to take a massive piss. I walk downstairs. Notice Rich Anon taking off his soaking wet hoodie and Nerd Anon putting away 2 pairs of shoes covered in mud. Ask them where they were. They say they were just trying to walk. Be suspicious about them and try not to do what Forrest did earlier. What a shame we agreed not to visit the underground facilities. I'd love to see them. They both say they don't want to. Starting to get really uncomfortable. Lock the door to my room and sleep until noon. Someone knocks at my door. It's Rich Anon. Says they all want to check out the forest again. Still confused and tired, I follow him out of the house. All 3 of my friends and even Forrest Dude are standing there, all of them in a cheerful mood. They start talking about the neat stone on which one of them sat the day before and how much fun it'll be. Forrest Dude smiles. Let's go, he says. I thought you didn't want anyone to walk into the forest. He laughs and says that he had a bad day. We should totally just take a walk in the forest today. I suggest we have a small breakfast first. Rush up to Rich Anon's room and take 2 gold rings into his father's workshop. Manage to get some gold dust. At this point, I'm too scared and confused to think rationally. All of them are just drinking water, while I'm having boiled eggs. I ask them if they want some of the ham we brought yesterday. They all agree. I sprinkle the gold dust on it as I'm putting it on a dish. They start devouring it like crazy, giving me an occasional seductive glance. Their skin is bumpy. Their teeth are sharp. As they continue munching on the ham, I notice small parts of their fingers sticking to the table and to whatever else they touch. They notice that I was staring at them and exchange meaningful looks. I think we should get going, Anon, says Nerd Anon. I tell them I'm feeling sick and they should just leave without me. Without hesitation, they do so. Walk up to my room, lock the door, call a psychiatrist friend, get on X, start thread. Well, first off, I'm not Czech. I'm actually from Germany. And second, I have no idea about local folklore, but gold dust doesn't ring any bells. Rushed into workshop with 2 rings and started filing or rasping. Don't know the proper word for it. Them until I had a little bit of it. Quite a bit of the gold stuck in the rasp. OP here. If anyone knows Forrest Dude, I'd love a link. I can describe him, if it helps. Short dark brown hair and a slight side cut. Medium length brown coat, sweater, fingerless glove, black pants, black leather shoes. He was kind of thin, especially in his face. Oh, also, he had a slightly deformed nose, like it was broken and not properly fixed once. Dude, the situation was surreal as fuck. I wasn't even properly able to process the fact that he presumably put something into a friend's drink. OP here. Holy fucking cow tits. That's Forrest Dude. Please tell me this is an elaborate hoax to troll me or something. Verfik Novken Jungs. Ik hab mich ik orkswicht. Aber ich konnet den Schiets och ringen zien lassen. Which translates to, fuck guys, you really got me, but you could let this shit be. And also I know that German is horrific, I don't speak it. What is more rational? A psychosis from smoking too much weed on a regular basis, or skinwalkers, or shapeshifters, or whatever? OP here. Niestro is the southwest of the Czech Republic. The forest is called Jezvinek. I never trusted him in the first place. I hope so fucking much you are right, and I'm just being trolled. OP here. It's so fucking weird to see Forrest Dude talk about Adventure Time. Absolutely surreal. Yes, that's the forest. We ventured in, well, perhaps 300 to 500 meters. It's hard to tell when you're inside. To clarify, we were all staying at Rich Anon's place as we know him from school in Germany. After school, we went different ways, but we still occasionally hang out. His parents are currently in Spain, I believe. Right now, I am in one of the 5 rooms in the first story of his parents' house. Due to him being rich as fuck, we all got separate rooms. Also, it's late as fuck and they still aren't back. Well, actually, I'm kind of glad they aren't back. Sorry, man, it's late here and I misread. We're staying at Rich Anon's place. His parents are currently gone. I don't know anything about Forrest Dude's families besides that he claimed his father is a goldsmith. My head is kind of fuzzy. OP here. Listen, I don't really trust my memory anymore, but that stump he's filming. And after a glowing light, his camera dies. That's the stump I was distracted by while searching for mushrooms. A big, torn apart stump on a small clearing, looking like the stump plus roots of a large tree after being torn out of the ground. I am noping so hard right now. Fuck everything, I hope I'm insane. OP here. It's 5 in the morning. I'm very tired. They haven't returned yet from whatever they were doing. I managed to get a hold of someone uninvolved who offered me to stay for a few days at his place. I hope he gets here before my friends do. If what I saw was real, and I hope it wasn't, the gold dust lets their true form shine out. They don't seem to be nice, but you can see what's beneath the skin. Also, the higher the dosage, the more you can see, I think. God fucking damn it, this sounds so R-worded. If they are playing a prank on me, I'll have to fucking murder them in their sleep. OP here, and then a long list of German words. And he says, the fucked up thing is, none of my friends tried to call me. Let's assume for a moment that this was a paranormal incident. How fucked am I? OP here, last post for today. Entered forest after following street out of Schudian. Walked for about 15 minutes. We'll get a few friends and look for my old group. We'll post whatever we find out as soon as possible. Everything is alright. It was all in my mind. I was the one. I am going now. Going to return with my friends. I'm not quite sure what happened that day. My memory is hazy, but everything is quite alright now. I am where I belong. Good night. Meh. I have nothing better to do until gym, so here it goes. This would be better posted on X, but meh. Be me, 7-year-old in 2003. Live with mom and dad in the city, but we are originally from a rural as fuck town out on the plains in Teleroman. Visit grandpa for the summer at her one-story old peasant-like house like I do usually. Have great fun with the other kids biking on the plain, swimming, and almost drowning in the Danube. 2 weeks in my summer vacation, grandma's cousin dies from a heart condition that she had for some time. The whole village is distraught because older folk remember that she was born with the right condition to become a Mori after death. The local superstition, at least in my area of the country, I hear it varies, says that if a child is born with umbilical cord wrapped around the neck, it will turn after death. A tad silly, if you ask me. Grandma's cousin was born like this, and the older people in the village were losing their shit that she needs to be staked before burial, or she will turn and comfort her relatives. Grandpa and her other cousins say fuck no because it's barbaric and we are living in the 21st century. Another tradition here is to keep the deceased body for 3 days before burying in the house. Don't ask me, I don't know why. It was during this that shit started to become eerie, that even me as a kid who was just playing around all day started to pay attention to what the fuck was actually going on. Now, a quick disclaimer before I continue. I was 7, I didn't understand much, and the whole village in the year of goddamn 2023 still doesn't have proper electricity and running water. So you can imagine what kind of people and what kind of mentality they have. But even looking in hindsight as an adult, I still can't help but shudder at how many coincidences that happened to be similar to folklore that happened. One day after the priest did the ritual for the deceased, my grandma's other cousin, sister of the deceased, comes to our home scared out of her mind. She says that when she went back home the previous night, the body was not there. Went into the yard to look for it, called on one of her neighbors, and when they checked the house, it was back. She also say that she has had dreams of her deceased sister. Both my grandma and her go to the priest and decide to fuck tradition and do the burial early. Old dudes and the babushkas are like, steak, but they still refuse. 3 days after the burial, things are okay. I'm having fun, and one night, I invite one of my village friends home to play. Grandma goes to sleep early, and we continue to play even if it's 9 and it's getting a bit darker. We decide to listen to the radio. Suddenly, I see the cupboards in the living room starting to shake a bit. I think, oh no, earthquake, duck. The thing is, only the cupboards are shaking, and it gets more violent. Dog is barking like crazy outside. Forgot to mention it started barking ever since the burial for whole nights, and Grandma was tired of it. I hear the pots we use for cleaning and the brooms falling over outside, and the windows start to vibrate. Now looking back, I was a dumb kid, so I wasn't associating these bizarre happenings with actually being haunted. Me and my friend were more perplexed than scared at first. Then it gets real. The barking reaches a crescendo, and then I hear our fucking dog, some mutt wolf shepherd, fucking fighting something outside the house. It gets quiet. Now I am actually shitting myself. Think some animal killed our dog and has to be pretty big to do the mud in. Oh shit. The fucking cupboard starts shaking, falls over. My friend fucking loses it and takes off. I do the same thing, leaving my sleeping grandma alone and running to my friend's house like a little bitch. Yeah, looking back, not proud of that one, 7 or not. I returned the next day after sleeping over. Our yard is a mess. I meet Grandma, who says that she needs to take Ultul, named after a big river, our dog, to the vet because it's injured. It has shallow teeth and claw mark injuries. She also says that the house is a mess and the windows from the living room got smashed in. At this point, even I as a kid realized how serious the situation is getting. Not even 2 days later, my great aunt, the sister of the deceased now haunting us, fall very ill. They take her to a regional hospital where they keep her because apparently she caught some sort of respiratory disease suddenly in summer. Unlike her sister, she was really healthy. Another few days pass and news are not good. Her condition is deteriorating fast and the doctors don't know what the fuck is going on. The old people in the village say that it's her sister trying to take her to the other side. Insert medieval Romanian monument in the year of goddamn 2003. The whole village is summoned. All the important men, the priest, the school teacher, the mayor, and the police officer. They have council in the local gymnasium. I would later learn that they did this because everybody needs to keep their mouths shut since what it is about is, to nobody's surprise, illegal. The middle of the day, they gather a posse, no torches and forks since it'd be a tad silly, only shovels, take a few sharp stakes and go to the cemetery. Me and the local kids follow even if the adults tell us off. They dig up my dead and now decomposing relative, break the lid on the coffin, and the priests start chanting Orthodox prayers and chucking holy water while 2 men fix the stake to hammer in it. When it goes in, I hear like balloon popping and losing air. A few seconds later, we all hear, I asked my friends and people that were there at the scene at the time if they also heard it, and said yes, a long, thin, piercing wail that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. Not an animal that I know. Then bury her again with the priest doing the prayers and the rituals and head back. Not even 2 days later, my grandma's cousin turns up having miraculously recovered in no time. The local folklore legends are reinforced. Years have passed and I forgot about that experience until a friend in college mentioned something similar happening in his village. The same full course, only this time being the late 2000s. Nobody wanted to do the ritual, and the Morris victim was getting closer to death even in intensive care. Again, respiratory problems. So, a lone villager went during the night and stalked the fucker, and in a week, the victim recovered. Now, in this case, not having the support of the community, he actually faced charges because unearthing and mutilating a corpse is illegal as fuck. The too long to read is that, unfortunately, the actual folklore vampire are not cute girls that want to suck you, but dead relatives seeking company in the afterlife. The modern vampire is from Bram Stoker's Image, and he took inspiration from even older pulp writings that may or may not be inspired by Vlad the Impaler. Still, looking back at the series of events, they are really strange, even if you don't have a drop of belief in the supernatural. It's easy to see how rural, isolated people would produce these kinds of stories from a few too convenient, bizarre coincidences. Both Grandma and her cousin are still alive to this day, by the way. Fuck it. Let me share one story to tide y'all over. My mother and I took a road trip from Alabama, where we lived at the time, to California to be with her brother after he had heart surgery. We were somewhere in Louisiana when she slammed on the brakes out of nowhere. I'd been dozing in the passenger seat and I sat upright fast, thinking we were having a wreck. I was about 16 and had exhausted myself, begging her to let me drive. She was staring in the rearview mirror, so I turned around and looked behind us. I didn't see anything right away, so I asked her what was wrong. It was dusk. Just dark enough for the brake lights to be needed to see behind us. I saw a little kid walking on the side of the road, she said. A toddler. What? I yelled, unbuckling my seatbelt and getting on my knees for a better look. She locked the car doors and put the car in reverse so we could see better. Sure enough, there was a dirty little ragamuffin of a boy walking along the side of the road. He had on a makeshift diaper and nothing else. This patch of road we were on had no streetlights and there was no traffic. We also didn't see any houses nearby where he could have come from. She got out first and I followed her. The little boy smelled like death, and she gave him a bottle of water. He drank it like there was no tomorrow. We kept asking him where he belonged and why he was outside, but he just stared at us. We were trying to decide if we should take him to the hospital or the police station when something started crashing in the woods beside us. The little boy pulled out of his mother's arms and made this sound like an owl or something. A second later, a young girl about 10 or so, also filthy, came out of the woods and drew up short, staring at us like she'd never seen people before. I don't know what language they were speaking or what the hell was going on, but she gestured and the little boy tore off running to her. They grunted at each other instead of talking. She didn't even say a word as she grabbed his arm and they took off back into the woods. Mom and I got back into the car and went about 6 miles and finally stopped at a little greasy diner because we saw a police car there. This was long before cell phones, so we hurried in and told the cop what we had seen and offered to drive him back out there to the spot. The cop was sitting at the bar drinking coffee, and he just shrugged his shoulders and said that he knew about them living out in the woods. He said he didn't like to mess with them. He never told us who they were, and he followed us to the city limit of the next town, I think to make sure we didn't go back and try to see what was going on. On our trip back home, we stopped at the grocery store and bought food, water, and toiletries. We left them in the spot where we had seen the little boy and went on our way. Never went back to see if they had gotten their things. But as we were unloading the boxes we bought, we kept hearing branches snap in the woods, so I think they were watching us the whole time. It was very creepy. And alright guys, that wraps up some unnerving stories from 4chan. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching the channel so much. The channel's been doing so great recently, and I can't say thank you enough. I really appreciate it so much, and it means the world. You guys are the best, and we've got a great community going, so if you're not part of the community yet, subscribe, like the video, comment down below, and yeah, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Comment down below if you'd like to see more 4chan stories in the future, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all, and this was Snook, and I'll see you next time. See ya.